Welcome to Bold Talk Series, where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Epi Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Sheila Folk, CEO and founder of Travel Industry Solutions. Sheila, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talk Series. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on today. I'm really excited to connect with you and your audience.
Yeah, well, looking forward to it, Sheila. The travel tech, it's so important today. There's a lots of things going on in this industry. Tell us about the moments that you knew the travel industry was the industry you want to focus on, and how those early experiences shaped your boldest ideas that what you're doing today with the travels industry solutions.
Well, ironically, I kind of fell into this industry. I spent most of my career in various hospitality verticals and risk management. And my story is a little bit different than other people who enter this space. So prior to founding TIS, I had a luxury travel agency and I became a luxury agent because I needed to stay home with my daughter. And a neighbor suggested that I become a travel advisor. So I said, can I set my own hours? Can I set my own course? Can I make as much money as I want? And they said, yes, 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 you can do all of those things. So I opened a luxury travel agency with my mother. And lo and behold, we were really successful. However, because of my background in risk management, I quickly realized there were a lot of gaps inside of our industry related to risk management, legal protection, mitigation, of all sorts of liability that comes with being a travel advisor. So, after a couple of years of owning a travel agency and experiencing chargebacks and other issues inside of my agency, I realized that not all travel advisors, one, had the means to go out and hire lawyers to protect their agency. Maybe they didn't have business experience from their past, so they didn't know how to connect a lot of the communication to protect their agency and also become efficient and profitable. So that's how TIS was born, was through a lot of the mistakes that I made early on and the mistakes that I observed other advisors making in the industry over the course of a couple of years.
No, that's amazing. Sheila, for people who are not so familiar in the space, you're solving a quite a huge problem. How big this problem is, and the problem that you're fixing, and you realize that this is so broken that someone needs to fix this. Is the is it's happening all globally, or is it particularly in one market more dominant than other markets? Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, what a lot of people don't understand is that this is one of the riskiest industries to be involved in on the planet. I've been an executive inside of different companies, and I've never been expected to know about every inch of the planet, whether it's how many paddle strokes it is from the beach in Thailand to the limestone rock offshore, to what are the entry and exit requirements, what are the local regulations, what are the country regulations. And we have an industry that has no barrier to entry in most countries. People get into this industry because they think it's going to be fun. They've booked their own travel, but they do not understand the risk exposure that they're placing on themselves. Fraud is huge. Chargebacks are huge inside of our industry, and advisors globally are not equipped to deal with these growing problems. I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars that are at stake and have exposure to the travel sector globally. And nobody is really trying to solve these problems right now at the advisor level. And in some cases, that small operator supplier level until now.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you're working with the travel advisors and host agencies, I assume. Those are your
Right
customers.
now, we're working with advisors and host agencies. So we do have some host agencies who are experiencing a great deal of exposure, whether it's fraudulent transactions, chargebacks, or liability that's being placed on these host agencies. So a host agency is an organization in which travel agents affiliate to not only gain access to credentials, but also have top tier level commissions with different travel suppliers in the market, whether it's cruise lines, hoteliers, DMCs, etc. So we do have host agencies currently licensing our product for hundreds and hundreds of their advisors because they understand the power of creating that clear separation and having up to date legal protection in place, in addition to some of our new tools like real time fraud detection at the credit card vault level, which is helping stop fraud before those payments are made to suppliers. And then we also sell directly to independent travel advisors and small agencies. We do have plans to expand into the small operator and supplier market, but right now we are working primarily with advisors and host agencies. And in some cases, we are preferred with some consortia, which is above that host agency level.
Nice. Now, when it comes to product design, walk us through, like, in terms of your engagement with your customers, how do you approach that, and to work for both ends in terms of the making the product more suitable for them, seamless, and so on?
Okay, well, I'm not gonna lie, when we first launched this product, we were just digital downloads and fillable PDFs, and I joke today with some of our original customers about how awful the product was in the beginning, but it did serve a need because outside by the way, outside of legal agreements, we do offer a bunch of operational tools. But,
But
you
that's the
know,
courage, because you took a courage to step out and just to make sure to get it out and understand, to get the feedback, right? With a lot of people, they're waiting for that perfect moment, right?
yeah, there's never a perfect moment, but I knew that we needed this. And I had this idea before COVID. So we were working on this product throughout the or the initial phase of COVID.
Yeah.
And then we launched it during COVID. But again, I look back now, it's been 5 years since I launched the company. I go, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But it did serve a need. So in the last couple of years, what we did was developed technology around our product. So we are a technology platform, but the value proposition really with our product is that our lawyers monitor laws, changes in laws. We update the agreements as those laws and regulations change and deliver them in real time through a technology platform. And so now advisors can go into the platform and know that they're accessing the latest agreements. They don't have to figure out where to put their name, what clauses they need based on their business structure. Are they complying with, for instance, seller of travel laws in California? Our system literally builds in under 3 minutes all of the agreements that they need to run and protect their business based on an agency profile. So we have dynamic document generation inside of our platform now, including e-sign, credit card vault, and the fraud detection. But it's really evolved. And I'm going to tell you right now, the reason I developed this technology is because we used to have user guides that would go along with the downloadable documents. So we went from downloadable PDFs to downloadable Word files so that they could edit them a little bit easier. And I had user guides that said agency name with like a big red circle. And it put your agency's name here. What does agency name mean? So we would have all of these user guides, and then I would inevitably get questions that would say that where they were asking, what do I put where it says agency name? And I'm like, your agency's name. So, but I think that we're so busy as travel advisors that we don't read often in
Yeah.
some cases, and we're just like, I just got to knock this out. I just got to put this in place for my agency so I'm protected. So really the motivation behind developing the technology was so I didn't have to answer those questions about what do I put where it says agency name. And the product has obviously evolved drastically since then. We've realized the value of creating these real-time updated documents and other solutions and the power of it for our customers.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, what is one thing that travel advisors consistently get it wrong about legal protection and operations? And what myth do you wish you could just get rid of it?
This is so easy. that contracts are one and done. So we'll hear from time to time, I've gone to a lawyer, I'm paying a flat fee because we are a subscription based product. And they're like, and I'm good and I'm protected. But the reality is that this is a living, breathing industry, and there are changes every day that happen inside of our laws, inside of our regulations, and these agreements need to be reviewed and updated. And then also, as it relates to privacy law, that's a moving target all the time. But I would say there's one other piece to that. I would say it's 1.1, and that is when advisors say, well, I've gone to such and such lawyer and they're giving me free updates. Well, they're not really free updates if they're just emailing out to their entire client base. Here's 3 sentences to add to your agreement. You have to really do a full review of the entire agreement every time something changes. And then you need to do a review of the documents that connect to that to really offer the full protection. And so one and done is really something that is problematic with certain advisors who don't understand that this is a moving target and industry. And then what do updates really mean? And how should updates be handled inside of your agreements?
Yeah. Do you think the AI agents are going to be there very soon to be able to handle that and notify you that, hey, here's the suggestion. Would you want me to go on and proceed?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, you should never, we see this a lot, DIY, cut and
Mm,
paste from friends. That should never happen. And I don't think that their genius is in legal. Otherwise, they would be working in the legal field. Their genius is in crafting exceptional vacations for their clients. And that's the space that they should be living in and focusing on, not trying to decipher what they need inside of their legal protection, because oftentimes they get it wrong. Oftentimes what we see is that they believe if they just throw everything into that document, including the kitchen sink, that they're protected, but oftentimes they're watering down their documents, or they're creating conflicting provisions inside of those documents, or they're just flat out missing requirements in terms of disclosures.
wow.
And so that's why I created TIS at the price point. We're built to scale a fixed price every year, a low fixed price with huge value inside of the platform.
Yeah. But my question was a bit not about the travel agent, but mostly on the artificial intelligent agents. Would you think the AI agents can be able to do that in a more real time way that can help?
Do I think AI is going to
Yeah.
replace what we do inside of TIS?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. We
Okay.
already did this multiple times, and we are future looking. We will eventually integrate AI inside of our platform, but it will be trained inside of our specific industry. I do think AI from a transactional basis, if you are practicing general law, I do think that there is definitely um, risk to law firms, especially at that lower level, that junior associate level.
Mm,
It's going to help these law firms to certainly generate documentation, but it's still not foolproof. What I like about the travel industry and how I believe we are protected against AI is it's so nuanced.
mm,
And there is no way that AI today or in the very near future could replace or understand the nuances that happen inside of our industry, which is why it is on our roadmap to develop our own language model inside of TIS that is very, very, very specific to this industry
nice.
and which nobody's doing.
Yeah. So you'd be the first one.
We will be the first one. And there's another component to it is that this is a very closed industry. So it's the barrier to entry to get into this industry at the enterprise level is extremely difficult.
Mhm.
So we already have a pretty good footprint inside of the industry already.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that self, that investment and time that you put in the credibility, it's not easy to overcome it overnight, right? So those are
Mhm.
things that you guys have been around for a long time. Now, if you had the chance to rebuild the travel industry from scratch, what would you design differently and what would you never compromise on?
I would say that we need to have some sort of a certification or testing requirement to enter this industry globally, some sort of licensure. I think that is the biggest problem that we have inside of our industry today is we have too many people, particularly in the US, and there's a few other countries around the world where there's no barrier to entry. You can simply, prop up your craft table and say, I'm a travel agent. And I think that creates a lot of problems inside of our industry, not only for our customers, but our partners and the entire ecosystem. So, and what I mean by ecosystem is our suppliers, our host agencies, our insurance companies, our own customers too. There's a lot of bad advice given to travelers. And I think a lot of this ties back to the fact that we have no barrier to entry. I would love to see us have a requirement around formal proctored certification and or licensure to enter this industry and to begin selling travel.
Interesting. Sheila, this is a great conversation. Thank you for being here. I always like to ask a question about the word bold. What does that mean to you? And I get a lot of different feedback from all these guests that I have, and I'd love to have that from you as well. Like, what does the word bold mean to you?
Gosh, it means so many things to me, but right now, today, in my life, bold, or in my, I would say, career life, it is taking a leap of faith to try to influence change and impact an industry that I so dearly love and protect who I consider to be my friends and colleagues inside of this industry because
Love
I
it.
love it.
Love it. Take it with a love and take it with a faith. Sheila Folk, thank you for joining me in this Bold Talk series. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. Until next time, be great and be bold always. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye bye.